Nobody talks about this. For over 2,000 years, we have been searching the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean for a lost civilization. Researchers have dragged equipment across the seafloor. Scientists have analyzed satellite images of underwater ridges. Explorers have dedicated entire lifetimes to this search, and they have found nothing. But here is the part that should bother you. Plato, the man who first wrote about Atlantis, never actually said it was underwater. He said it was destroyed. He never said where the remains would be today. We have been searching the ocean for 2,000 years based on a single assumption that nobody ever questioned. And because of that, we have probably been looking in completely the wrong place. Plato described Atlantis with a level of detail that is almost unsettling for something people call a myth. He did not write about it vaguely. He gave measurements, he gave geography, he gave a specific date. He described a city built in concentric rings, alternating circles of water and land, one inside the other, like something drawn with a compass. He mentioned that the stone used in its construction came in 3 colors: red, black, and white. He described mountains to the north of the city. He described a large flat plain that opened toward the sea in the south. And then he gave a date. He said Atlantis fell 9,000 years before his own time. Plato lived around 400 BC. That places the destruction of Atlantis at approximately 11,600 years ago. These are not the details of a man making something up to prove a philosophical point. This is someone describing a place. Now look at the Sahara Desert. In the country of Mauritania, in the northwest of Africa, there is a geological structure so strange that when people first saw it from space, they did not know what to make of it. It is called the Richat Structure. Some people call it the Eye of the Sahara. From above, it is a perfect set of concentric rings, circles within circles, sitting in the middle of a flat, open landscape. Its diameter is roughly 23 kilometers, which lines up remarkably close to the measurements Plato recorded for Atlantis. To the north of the Richat Structure, there are massive mountain ranges. To the south, the land flattens and opens outward, exactly where an ancient coastline would have sat thousands of years ago. Scientists will often say the Sahara has always been a desert, but that is not accurate. Around 11,000 years ago, this entire region was completely different. The period is called the African Humid Period, and during that time, the Sahara was green. It had forests, lakes, wide rivers, and animals. It looked nothing like what it looks like today. If any of this still sounds like a stretch, then look at what is sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert right now. Fossilized whale skeletons, ancient seashells, marine life, frozen in stone, scattered across one of the driest places on the planet. There is even a place in Egypt called Wadi al-Hitan, which translates to the Valley of the Whales, where the remains of ancient ocean creatures sit in the middle of the desert. How does that happen unless that land was once covered by water? Now go back to Plato's date. 11,600 years ago marks the end of a period called the Younger Dryas. This was a time of dramatic climate shifts, catastrophic flooding, and rapidly rising sea levels across the entire planet. Glaciers were melting, coastlines were changing, entire landscapes were being rearranged in ways that would have looked like the end of the world to anyone living through it. The timeline does not simply lean toward a coincidence, it is a direct match. So here is the question that keeps coming back. What if Atlantis did not sink into the ocean? What if the water came to it and then left? What if the civilization Plato described was not swallowed by the sea, but instead stranded and buried as the water receded, the rivers dried up, and the land slowly became desert over thousands of years? The Richat structure matches the size. It matches the shape. It matches the geography Plato described, and it sits in a region that matches the timeline almost exactly. We have spent 2,000 years looking for a sunken city. We brought submarines and sonar equipment and deep-sea cameras, and we searched the ocean floor. But what if the answer was never underwater? What if Atlantis has been sitting in the middle of the Sahara this entire time, Buried under sand and dust and centuries of assumption? Not at the bottom of the ocean, not lost, just forgotten, in a place nobody thought to look. Maybe we were not searching for something that disappeared. Maybe we were searching for something we had already written off. Maybe the reason we never found Atlantis is that we were looking for a shipwreck, when we should have been looking for a ghost in the sand. Subscribe to Midnight Curiosities.